Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your buddy Chewie coming back at you. Another out and about, just pulling out of Walmart for my what is becoming weekly grocery pickup. I don't know about you guys, but we're doing a lot of curbside pickup, a lot of delivery. Have been into very few stores since the world ended. Seems like forever ago. Let's see how. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's happy and healthy. To those that are dealing with this shit, hope you're recovering quickly and fully. And to the one that I know is dealing with it, love you, man. Glad you're feeling better. Let's see. I wanted to jump on. I've had a couple questions. We're 10 or 11 episodes in at this point. I've had a couple questions about the name Chewie, where it comes from, what the origins of it are, and those kind of things. That is a name that I've been known by, for 20 plus years now. I know I often, or I've told the story about how I've gotten mail in the mail before, addressed to Chewie, addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Chewie. I've gotten wedding invitations addressed to Chewie. My real name is Greg. Chewie is a moniker that I was kind of bequeathed years and years ago at Indiana University on Teeter Thompson 5. Shout out to the T5 boys. So Teeter Thompson was the floor that I lived on my freshman and sophomore year, or part of my sophomore year at Indiana. One night, it had to be early. It had to be the first week or two of school. We were sitting around and somebody had the brilliant idea, hey, we need nicknames. And I don't know if we were watching Animal House, and heard the name Otter or whatever, but so we went around the rooms and we gave everybody nicknames, and so we had everybody had a nickname, or for the most part, and I won't go into some of them now, but mine was Chewie. The reason my name was Chewie was probably twofold. One, I probably had a beard the way I do now. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Chewbacca is one of my favorite characters, and so it just kind of would go to make sense that, hey, this big hairy guy, we're gonna call him Chewie. I also, in all likelihood, had a huge dip of Kodiak in my mouth at the time. I chewed tobacco from the time I was a freshman in high school until July 24th, 2006. And I know that date exactly because I still keep track every day. I haven't had a dip ever since then. But for those 17, 18 years or so, I was chewing all day, every day. So between the fact that I was chewing tobacco and I loved Star Wars, that's where the name Chewie comes from. At this point, I use it, if it's available at an online forum or a blog, or if I need an alias or those kind of things, I will use the name Chewie. My very first America Online AOL username was IUChewie at AOL.com. And so I've been using that for a long time. I will also use 406 North Lane. That is my website. That is, if you look me up on PlayStation, that's my name on PlayStation. In all likelihood, though, you're talking to my kids, not me. I don't play a whole lot of PlayStation these days, but they do. So that handle is on there all the time. 406 North Lane happened to be our address at Bloomington, in Bloomington, Indiana. that was, in my mind, the greatest house and the greatest college experience. And I think back on that time often. I lived there for 2 years and 2 summers, and so that's why that's my website, that's my Twitter handle, that's my Instagram handle, 406 North Lane. It really was an awesome place to call home. To this day, some of my best friends were roommates and were people that I knew, either lived with at North Lane or were regular guests to North Lane. The parties that we had there really were were pretty amazing. None of the guys that lived in that house, or girls, joined the Greek system. None of us were Greek. At the time, and this may still be the case, I'm not sure, Indiana University had the largest Greek system in the country. But we were not Greek. But we had a lot of friends that were Greek, so we were all, if we wanted to go to a party, we would go to a party. And we had parties at North Lane that would rival some of the Greek parties. There were times that we had literally hundreds of people in our house throughout the night with, I think one night we went through 8 kegs of beer, which is not something that I'm proud. Yeah, I take that back. Yeah, that's something that we were proud of. But I remember Pip and I, one of the first things that we did when we were going to have our first house party, we went to the local hardware store and we bought locks for our doors because we wanted to make sure that we could lock our bedrooms if we were going to have hundreds of randoms in our house. So yeah, that's the long story short, why I use the name Chewie. I would be remiss to not mention killthecan.org. That's where I go. That's where, the handle that I use there as well. It's a name that has stuck with me and probably will continue to stick with me, and I'm okay with that. It's a huge part of who I am, and even though I don't chew tobacco anymore, I never want to forget that time in my life because I fought long and hard to get away from it. So at this point, I will say I still love me some Chewbacca. All right, have a good afternoon, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.